Have you ever wished you could close your eyes and visit a friendly, magical place where fun and adventure go hand in hand? Well, welcome to the neighborhood of Woodland.
There's a land that's far away, where you can laugh your cares away, for every day's a holiday in Woodland. If you're fond of greenery and want a change of scenery, then come along and follow me to Woodland. If you want to visit a place that's exquisite, where lavender and daffodils grow, where furry little creatures become friendly teachers, then Woodland is the place you ought to go. And when you're in the neighborhood, just drop in like a neighbor would, and smile and say a neighborly hello, 'cause everyone's so glad to see you. That's the way it is in Woodland, you know. Let's go!
Once upon a time, in the neighborhood of Woodland, there lived a very inquisitive and funny little mole named Randall Mole, who wasn't satisfied just being a mole. Now, that's not to say Randall wasn't thankful he was a mole. He was. But the truth of the matter is, Randall was different from almost any other mole you might have ever met. Not because he wasn't a good tunneler. He was. And not because he didn't enjoy gardening. He did. You see, what made Randall Mole so different was that he wanted some real excitement in his life. Something most moles don't know a lot about. And it was causing all sorts of problems in Woodland. You see, Randall was forever doing all sorts of different things everyone said moles just didn't or couldn't or shouldn't do. Everyone, that is, except Rabbit. One beautiful summer day, Rabbit, Fox, and Possum set out for a sail across to the other side of the big pond in Rabbit's red sailboat. Fox had brought an extra large picnic basket, and they had each packed something special for the occasion. Fox had made several of his famous peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Possum brought a thermos filled to the brim with fresh apple juice, and Rabbit a scrumptious-looking chocolate cake, and a small packet of sweet potatoes. "Sweet potatoes?" asked Possum. "Well, I was hoping Randall Mole might catch up," said Rabbit. "I do hope he got my message to join us." "Not very likely," said Possum. "He's probably off doing some foolish thing he has absolutely no business doing." Suddenly, there was a loud roar, and much to everyone's surprise, a big, shiny blue motorboat sped by, nearly tipping Rabbit's little red sailboat right over, end for end. "Watch out!" they all began to say, but they stopped suddenly. The three friends could not believe what they were seeing. There, connected to the back of the shiny blue motorboat, were two long yellow ropes, and there, connected to the other end of the two long yellow ropes, was Randall Mole, standing on a pair of water skis, skiing. "Hooray!" Randall shouted as he zoomed past, spraying water all over his three friends, and nearly tipping the red sailboat over again. "Hooray, Mole!" Rabbit shouted back, a big smile spreading his whiskers. But there were no smiles on Fox or Possum. They were dripping wet and mad to boot. "Oh, confustication," said Possum. "You're absolutely right," said Fox. They were not happy. Rabbit, however, seemed quite elated. He was watching Randall doing figure eights. "Stop this nonsense immediately," shouted Possum as Randall zipped past again. "You're a mole. You can't water ski." "I can't," shouted Randall. And no sooner had he said the word "can't" than he couldn't. "Oh, dear," he said. "Help!" "Hang on," said Rabbit. "Don't let go of the ropes," which, unfortunately, is exactly what Randall had just done, sending him, skis and all, straight past Rabbit, Fox, and Possum with a zip straight into the middle of Mrs. Toad's favorite lily pads. "I do hope I haven't spoiled the picnic." Rabbit began to say, "Of course not," but that's as far as he got. "You most certainly have," said Possum. "You're absolutely right," said Fox. "Ridiculous thing for a mole to be doing anyway," said Possum. "Water skiing. Why, everybody knows moles can't water ski." "You're absolutely right," said Fox. "I suppose you're right. And just when I thought I was beginning to get the hang of it." "Well, let this be a lesson to you," said Possum. "You weren't. You're a mole, and it's your job in life to do, well, mole-y things. You can't do what you can't do. We're only thinking of you, you know." "You're absolutely right," said Fox, and he and Possum climbed out of the boat. "Nonsense," said Rabbit, smiling at Randall. "Don't listen to those spoil sports. I thought you did grand." "You did?" asked Randall. "I did," said Rabbit, and he did. "I'll bet it was great fun." "Oh, it was," said Randall, and it had been. Much more fun, he said, than just being a mole. The next morning, Rabbit's telephone rang. It was Fox. "The circus is in town," he said. "Possum and I are going this afternoon. Why don't you join us? It'll be splendid." Rabbit agreed. It sounded very exciting. Just the sort of excitement Randall Mole would enjoy, he thought. So Rabbit picked up his telephone and dialed Randall's number. It rang 3 times. Then Rabbit heard, "Hi, Randall Mole here. Sorry I can't come to the phone right now. I've gone to the circus today. But at the sound of the beep, please leave your message, and I'll call you back." Rabbit heard a beep and said, "Rabbit here, Randall Mole. What a coincidence. I was calling to invite you to the circus. See you there, I hope." Then he hung up. But later, when Rabbit joined Fox and Possum at the circus, Randall was nowhere to be seen. "Just as well," said Possum. "He's probably off doing some confusticating thing or other that he has absolutely no business doing." Fox began to say, "You're absolutely right." But suddenly, all the lights went out, and a loud voice filled the circus tent. It was the ringmaster. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said. A hush fell over the crowd. "Presenting the daring young mole on the flying trapeze." Rabbit, Fox, and Possum couldn't believe their eyes. It was Randall, flying through the air with the greatest of ease. "Hooray!" he shouted as he swung from swing to swing. The crowd was cheering. "Hooray, Mole!" Rabbit shouted back. Yes, hooray, Mole!" said Fox, jumping to his feet. But as he did so, he accidentally spilled his popcorn and his super double snow cone, and they both landed squarely in Possum's lap. Possum frowned at Fox, sending Fox back down to his seat just as fast as he had jumped up. Then, just as Randall was about to do his big finish, a triple somersault and a half-gainer, just as he let go of the trapeze, Possum stood up and shouted, "Stop this foolishness immediately, Randall. You're a mole. You can't swing on a trapeze." "I can't?" shouted Randall in midair. And no sooner had he said the word "can't" than he couldn't. And the next thing Randall knew, he was bouncing on the big net underneath him. "I hope I haven't spoiled the circus for anyone." Rabbit and Fox both began to say, "Why, of course not." But that's as far as they got. "You most certainly have," said Possum, who was still picking popcorn out of his pockets. "I am sorry," said Randall. "Ridiculous thing for a mole to be doing anyway," said Possum. "Why, everyone knows a flying trapeze is no place for a mole. You shouldn't be doing what you couldn't be doing to begin with. And I certainly hope there's none of this confusticating nonsense at the town birthday parade tomorrow." Then he stomped off. "I suppose he's right, but I just had to try. And I did so feel as though I was beginning to get the swing of things, if you'll pardon the expression. Maybe I should stop trying to do new things altogether. Nonsense, said Rabbit. I thought you did wonderfully. Really? Asked Randall. Really, said Rabbit. Besides, how would any of us ever know if we could ever do anything if we didn't try? Suddenly, a gleam appeared in Fox's eye. Why, you're absolutely right, he said. Of course I am, said Rabbit, and the three friends had a good long laugh. The next day was bright and beautiful. Everybody was saying it was the perfect day for the town birthday parade. And it was. Everyone was there. There were picnic tables end to end, piled with the most delicious cakes and pies and food of every kind. There were flags and races and music and games. Everyone seemed to be having the best of times, including Rabbit, Fox, and even Possum. I do hope Randall Mole comes in time for the big parade, said Rabbit. It would be a shame if he missed it. He's probably off doing some foolish new thing he has absolutely no business doing, said Possum. It was a grand parade. There were brass bands and jugglers and baton twirlers and floats and... Suddenly, just when it seemed as though the parade couldn't get any more exciting, straight up Main Street, right in the very middle of the parade, came the biggest, most beautiful horse anyone in Woodland had ever seen. Rabbit, Fox, and Possum couldn't believe their eyes, because there, right on top of the biggest, most beautiful horse anyone in Woodland had ever seen, sitting tall in the saddle, was, that's right, Randall Mole, twirling a lariat. Randall tipped his hat as he rode by Rabbit, Fox, and Possum. Howdy, he said, grinning. How about a ride? Howdy, said Rabbit and Fox together, and they both scrambled up into the saddle behind Randall. Stop this silliness this instant, said Possum. Not one of you has any business being on top of the biggest, most beautiful horse anyone in Woodland has ever seen. The least of all you, Mole. Come on, Possum, they said. Try something new. It'll be great fun. But, I don't know if I can, said Possum. You'll never know, said Randall, unless you try. Slowly, the frown on Possum's face turned upside down into a smile. Oh, confustication, he said. Why not? And he climbed on behind Fox. Ready, partners? Asked Randall. Ready, answered the three friends. Giddy up, said Randall, and off they rode. Later that night, Rabbit, Fox, and Possum gathered at Rabbit's house for popcorn and television. I wish Randall were here, said Possum. Why, I can't remember ever having had such a grand and glorious time. But I do believe that was enough excitement for me for one day. For all of us, said Rabbit. Then, bringing in a big bowl of popcorn, he turned on the television. The three friends couldn't believe their eyes or ears. It was the nightly news, and there, in his best jacket and tie, was Randall. This has been Randall Mole with all the news from Woodland, he said. And remember, with a little imagination, you can do or be anything you dream of, if you just put your mind to it. Rabbit, Fox, and Possum smiled back at Randall. You're absolutely right, they said.